Welcome, Darklings, to a world where happily ever after is just a myth. This is Fairytale Felonies. This is the tale of Bridget Cleary. We are older than iron, older than prayer. We were here when the rivers still remembered their names, when stones hummed lullabies beneath the roots of oak and ash, and when the hawthorn trees whispered in languages no tongue speaks now. We are the good people, though mortals have called us worse. And this is the tale of the woman who walked too close. Once upon a time, in a land that breathed both mist and memory, there was a girl named Bridget. She was stitched from bravery and love. She stepped lightly, spoke boldly, and wore her cleverness like a crown. She was one of those rare mortals who thought dreams could be brought into reality. We watched her from the hill, our hill, the one shaped like a sleeping giant. She came with baskets and bark, humming a tune that made the wind pause to listen. Her laughter startled a wren from its nest. She moved through the ring of our fort with the careless grace of someone who had never been taught to fear the unseen. She did not ask permission. That matters, you see. Not because we are cruel, but because we are old. There are rules, unwritten, unsaid, but alive as heartbeat. They live in the bones of the land. They say, take what you need, but not from where the shadows keep count. Bridget stayed past the lark's song. She plucked elder bark from our roots, and when she walked away, she carried a little of twilight tangled in her hair. And so, we followed. Not to steal, not to harm, but to see. Bridget was not like the others. She did not bow to the old ways. She walked the iron path, and her steps rang louder than most. She kept hens that laid golden-yolked eggs, stitched gowns fit for queens, and dreamed of a shop with windows lit by gaslight. She was a flame in a world of damp moss. Her husband, Michael, was different. He saw us in every shadow. He carried the old stories like stones in his pockets. He would never cross a ring fort at night, nor hang a shirt outdoors after sunset. He would tip his hat to the moon, whispering, "God guard me from the good people." We saw him too, this man of earth and fear. He loved his wife as a man might love fire, entranced by its beauty, terrified of its heat. So when Bridget came home with twilight in her eyes and her voice a little distant, he saw not wonder, but danger. He looked at her and saw a stranger wearing the shape of his beloved. We did not take her. We do not take what is not freely given. But fear is a thief. It crept into Michael's heart and whispered lies in his own voice. It told him that his wife was gone, stolen away beneath our hill, and that this creature before him was one of us. And he believed. He was not alone. Fear is like wildfire. It catches in the dry hearts of neighbours. Jack Dunn, Bridget's cousin, was the first to speak the word aloud. "Changeling," he said, and the word fell like frost across the cottage. Jack had seen the signs, or so he claimed. Her sudden illness, her strange stillness, her voice softening into something not quite her own. He said her reflection lingered too long in the wash basin that the dog would not sleep at her feet. Mrs. Boland, the neighbour with hands like cracked porcelain, brought foxglove and old urine. "It's the only way," she said, her voice trembling with both pity and revenge. Long ago she'd lost a child to fever, and some part of her had decided the good people had taken him. She would have burned the whole hill if she could. Patrick Kennedy came too, though he said little. He stood in the doorway, hat in hand, the lamplight slicing his face in two. He did not speak. He did not stop it. Silence, my friend, is its own kind of cruelty. The cottage of smoke and salt, the little house filled with smoke and superstition. They boiled herbs until the air thickened, until even the spiders crept from the rafters. They muttered prayers between half-remembered charms. They tied her with May rope, for rope spun at dawn on May morning, they said, could bind a fairy's limbs. When she cried that she was cold, they said fairies hated warmth. When she begged for water, they said fairies feared it. When she prayed, they said fairies could not pray. Every kindness turned inside out. She wept and we watched. Her tears soaked into the floorboards, and even now when the rain falls just right, you can smell the salt of her sorrow rising from the earth. And then came the 15th night, when madness wore the mask of ritual. Bridget refused another sip of the bitter brew, and Michael's patience, threadbare and trembling, snapped. "If she won't take the cure," he said, his voice low and strange, "she'll take the flame." The boy fetched the lamp oil. The neighbours stayed. No one spoke. The match struck. The fire leapt like a joyful beast. It caught her gown, then her hair, then her voice. She screamed once, a sound that split the night like a blade. Some say it was her husband's name. Others say it wasn't human at all. For 7 minutes the cottage glowed like a lantern for lost souls. Then silence, the kind that feels older than sound. Even we fell silent. Bridget died, unhappily ever after. Michael dragged her body behind the henhouse, wrapped in a blanket still warm from her life. Then he walked to the ring fort and sat upon our mound. The mist gathered around him like a shroud. He waited for the white horse that the stories promised, the one that would bring his true wife home at dawn. He waited as the stars faded. He waited as the frost melted. He waited until the sky blushed pink. Only the crows came, black and laughing. Still, he believed. When the constables came, they found her, bones and ash and horror buried shallow. The hens would not go near. 9 were arrested. The newspapers called it Ireland's last witch burning, though there had never been witches here. Only fear and faith tangled like brambles around the human heart. The trial was held in Clonmel, in a courthouse that smelled of damp stone and old grief. The villagers sat in rows, their faces pale as candle smoke. Jack Dunn swore he had only meant to help. Mrs. Boland wept, clutching her rosary until her knuckles shone white. Patrick Kennedy said nothing at all. And Michael, poor, broken Michael, stood before Judge O'Connell, a man with tired eyes and a heart weighted by ghosts. "I loved her," Michael said. "I was saving her. She would have wanted it." The judge watched him for a long time before he spoke. "Belief," he said softly, "however sincere, cannot license cruelty." The words hung in the air like smoke that would never clear. Michael was sentenced to 15 years, the others less. Some went home and never spoke again. Some fled the country. Some drowned their memories in whiskey until the river took them too. We watched him after. In his cell, he whispered to the walls, asking us where she'd gone. When he slept, he dreamed of a woman walking out of the fire, her face bright and terrible, saying, "You should have waited for me." When he was freed, he crossed the sea to Liverpool, then to Canada. But no matter where he went, we followed in the sound of wind through pine and the gleam of frost on windows. Sometimes travellers met him on forest roads, muttering about a wife who would ride home at dawn. He never found her. As for Bridget, her story did not die. It settled in the soil and the wind, where old stories go when no one believes them anymore. There are fields in Tipperary where the grass grows greener than the rest, and when the wind bends it just so, you can see the faint shimmer of a woman's shadow walking between the blades. Mothers still whisper her name to children who wander too near a fairy fort. They say, "Be kind to the old ways, but don't let them own you." Because love is a dangerous thing, and belief burns hotter than any fire. So if you walk near a ring fort, and the air grows still, and the wind tastes faintly of foxglove and sorrow, do not speak her name aloud. Do not ask if the tale is true. Just leave a thimble of milk on the grass. Bow your head. And remember, we are the good people. But we are not kind. If you enjoyed this true crime tale, be sure to like and subscribe to join our family of Fairytale felons.